Terri Schiavo, did I die or was I murdered? I was born on December 3rd in 1963. In 1984, I married Michael Schiavo. From 1985 to 1989, I began to miss my periods and I began to lose a lot of weight. In February of 1990, I collapsed in my kitchen and fell into a coma. In May, I emerged from the coma, but I was still unconscious. In 1990, Michael is named by the court as my legal guardian. In June of 1990, as people would reach for my face, I would jerk away. I would close my eyes. In 1991, a bone scan showed that I had had prior traumatic injuries. I had had multiple ribs broken, my right thigh had been broken, both of my knees, both of my ankles. How did this happen? Nobody knows. My parents didn't know about this. So they encouraged Michael to start dating. In 1992, Michael, my husband, meets his future wife. Guess what? He also files a malpractice suit against my OBGYN. In January of 93, a lawsuit was settled. I, Terri, who is still unconscious, got $750,000 and Michael got $300,000. In February, my parents began to fight with him over my treatment and the money. They began to think that maybe he wasn't doing things like he should. In 1994, Michael and the doctor decide to halt my treatment. This is when Michael signs a do not resuscitate order. In 1995, Michael and Jody began to have their relationship. In 98, Michael positions to stop the feeding tube. My parents will file against this. In September, doctors testify that I am in a chronic vegetation state. Come November, my parents find out all about the bone scan, and doctors begin to suggest that maybe my head injury was caused from trauma. But the judge denies that evidence. He will not allow it to be told. From February in 2000, they tried to use the petition from 98 that the court decided to remove my feeding tube. In 2001, my tube was removed. 2 days later, though, it was reinstated. In 2002, Jody, my husband's girlfriend, gives birth to her first child by my husband. In November, the Florida 2nd District Court of Appeals reviewed my case and they upheld the decision to remove my tube. So on October the 15th, my tube is removed. They will no longer feed me. In October, on 21st, the legislation passes a Terri's Law and Governor Bush orders the tube to be put reinserted. So 6 days I went without food. In 2004, Michael and Jody have another child, being my husband. In May 19th, the judge overturns Terri's Law. In September 24th, the Florida Supreme Court testifies that my law is unconstitutional. In 2005, in January, the Supreme Court refuses to hear my case. So, on the 25th of February, the judge ordered my tube to be removed again. On March 17th, it was reinserted. And on March 18th, for the third and final time, my feeding tube is removed. So, on March 27th, my priest comes in and gives me my last rites. After 15 years of a vegetation state, on March 31, after 13 days of doing without food, I succumbed to starvation and I died. So, did I die or was I murdered?